It's really no secret that the DC universe is jam-packed with some of the most powerful characters in comic book history. I mean, come on, they've got the entirety of the Justice League at their disposal, not to mention specific powerhouses like Supergirl, Donna Troy, Lobo, and so many more. What is going on, all you nerdy folk out there? My name is Jack, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd, and I hope you are ready for part 2 of our list of top 10 strongest DC superheroes you wouldn't expect. Now, if you haven't watched part 1 yet, don't worry, that is totally okay, but I highly recommend you go back and check it out at some point just to see all the characters that we mentioned before. Now, like last time, we're going to be taking a look at some of the strongest DC heroes in terms of sheer strength and power level, most of these heroes being ones that aren't necessarily household names. Anyways, without further ado, let's jump on into today's list. Number 10, Animal Man. Buddy Baker was once a punk rocker who was chosen to be the protector of the Red, aka the Web of Life, aka the morphogenetic field, which, put simply, is the force that binds all living things on Earth together. From then on, Buddy discovered that he was able to absorb the abilities of any animal anytime he was in the presence of it, and he could summon those abilities at will, using them to fight crime and whatnot. These abilities include the strength of a T-Rex, the flight of a bird, the speed of an ant, the sonic blast of a pistol shrimp, the stench of a skunk, and just a whole lot more. Donning his iconic orange and blue costume and calling himself Animal Man, Buddy has teamed up with the Forgotten Heroes and the Justice League on multiple occasions to help take down Vandal Savage, Queen Bee, the Time Commander, and more. Now, the biggest struggle in Buddy's life, however, is that he is both a family man and a superhero, and he often finds it pretty hard to strike a balance between the two. Check out Animal Man for yourself, starting with his first appearance in 1965's Strange Adventures number 180, or feel free to skip ahead to his Prime Earth counterpart, starting with 2011's Flashpoint Volume 2, number 5. Number 9, Gotham Girl. Clara Clover, aka Gotham Girl, was half of the metahuman crime fighter duo that fought to protect Gotham City. Now, it's not really explained how or when, but Gotham Girl received her powers after purchasing a set of metahuman powers that are now tied to her life force, and the strength of her powers is determined by how much life force she is willing to sacrifice to use them, meaning more life force equals crazy strong powers. However, this was later resolved when Batman exposed her to some platinum kryptonite. These powers include superhuman strength and stamina, flight, invulnerability, and some good old-fashioned heat vision. She made her debut in Gotham alongside her brother by helping Batman save a plane that was hijacked by the Cobra cult, and at that point Batman decided to take them both under his wing to train them as better heroes. After the death of her brother, she had a ton of trouble coping, but thankfully Batman was there to help her through it by letting her in on his own struggles in his own life. The worst thing she's ever done, though, that makes me even question if she's a hero, was when she revealed to have been working alongside Bane, completely physically and emotionally breaking Batman. Check her out for yourself, starting with 2016's DCU Rebirth number 1. Number 8, Captain Marvel Jr. Now, it's no secret that superhero comics love bringing in a sidekick every now and then. After Batman got Robin in 1940, Captain Marvel was given Captain Marvel Jr. just a year later, and as obscure as he might be compared to more famous sidekicks, he was known well enough by Elvis Presley that the King himself decided to model his onstage costumes after Captain Marvel Jr. Just as the Wizard imbued Billy Batson with the power of Shazam, the Captain imparted a portion of his powers to Freddy while he lay dying because of an accident that he caused. Now, by saying the words Captain Marvel out loud, he gained all of the abilities that the original Captain has, just to a slightly lesser degree. In his human form, Freddy is forced to walk with a crutch due to a bad left leg, but as Captain Marvel Jr., he has full capabilities of his body, and then some. Now, that is just the original CMJ who debuted in 1941's Wiz Comics number 25. The Freddie Freeman that debuted in DC's The Power of Shazam number 3 also has a pretty similar origin, however his powers were granted him directly from the Six Gods as opposed to getting them from Shazam, making him their direct champion. As a member of the Teen Titans, Justice League of America, and the new Young Justice, Freddy has helped take down some serious baddies, however his powers were robbed from him by Osiris, and since then, he has not been able to take the form of Captain Marvel Jr. Check out Freddie Freeman for yourself, and let me know what you think of him in the comments below. Number 7, Plastic Man. Originally a criminal who went by the name Eel O'Brien, Patrick O'Brien gained his malleable body after being shot and exposed to an unknown acid. When he woke up, he discovered that his entire body was elastic, and it took him a while to get the hang of it, but eventually he was able to learn how to use his powers to his advantage. Partnered up with Woozy Winks, the two stopped an attempted robbery, and from that point on, Patrick became known as the hero Plastic Man. Now, not only can Plastic Man stretch himself at will, he can also increase or decrease his size, posing as a tiny little action figure or growing to the size of a building, and he can increase his own strength by growing or adding muscle mass to his body, and he can even shapeshift, taking the form of basically anything that is impossible for humans to achieve without breaking every bone in their body. As an occasional member of the Justice League, Plastic Man not only became good friends with Batman, but he helped take down Clayface, Dr. Psycho, and played a rather large role during the Blackest Night storyline, fighting all of these zombified heroes and seemingly dying in the process. Check out his entire story for yourself, starting with his first appearance in 1988 Secret Origins Volume 2, number 30, or feel free to skip ahead to his Prime Earth counterpart story, starting with 2011's Justice League International Volume 3, number 1. Number 6. The Phantom Stranger. The original Phantom Stranger was a mysterious figure whose origin and name have never been revealed. The Phantom Stranger is truly just an enigma. My favorite origin story for him is that he was originally a private citizen during the biblical times and was spared from God's wrath. An angel was then sent to deliver him from said divine wrath, and after questioning God's actions, he committed but the angel forbid his spirit from entering the afterlife, and reanimated his body and condemned him to walk the world forever, to be a part of humanity but also forever separated from it. It was then he discovered his divine charge to turn humanity away from evil one soul at a time. Basically, his entire goal was to provide warnings for events that were on their way without actually intervening himself. These warnings were often very cryptic because of this, since he's not allowed to directly stop anything. As an immortal with immense magical powers including, but not limited to, dimensional travel, spectral sight, transmutation, and energy blast, the Phantom Stranger has helped out the Justice League on multiple occasions and has inadvertently saved countless lives. Check him out for yourself in his first appearance in 1952's The Phantom Stranger number 1, or check out his Prime Earth counterpart in 2012's Justice League Volume 2, number 6. Number 5. Mary Marvel. Fun fact, Mary Marvel has the distinction of being the very first female spin-off of a male superhero, making her debut in 1942's Captain Marvel Adventures Volume 1 number 18, predating Supergirl by more than a decade. Now, just like her twin brother Billy Batson, she became involved with the world of wizards and magic words, and by calling out the name Shazam, she can take on the same powers as her brother. However, in many of their stories, it's explained that she, her brother, and Freddie Freeman all share a finite amount of power, meaning that the more heroes who use their abilities, the weaker they all are. Interestingly enough though, Mary has also received her powers from other sources outside of Shazam. Black Adam previously gave her his powers, making her prone to violence, and Darkseid further manipulated her powers to turn her into a purely evil entity, able to cut right through a human body without any remorse or resistance. In this form, she was able to overpower someone as strong as Wonder Woman. Honestly, it doesn't really matter where she gets her powers from, she is definitely a formidable foe and more than deserves a spot on this list today. Now, if you want to know more about this character, check her out in her first appearance, or feel free to skip ahead to a more recent storyline in 1994's The Power of Shazam graphic novel. Number 4. Icon. Hailing from the planet Turbinus, Augustus Freeman, aka Icon, was marooned on Earth in 1839 in the Deep South. He worked long and hard and was very involved in a lot of black history, but it wasn't until he met Raquel Irvin that he became Icon, the icon for the black community of Dakota City. Augustus is portrayed as a very intelligent and somewhat rigid person, and due to his upper class job as a big-time lawyer and his quote-unquote proper way of speaking, he is often criticized for being a sellout, which isn't true at all. He just likes to do things properly and by the book, you know? Thanks to his alien physiology, Freeman has superhuman strength, speed, agility, and stamina. He can also fly and is basically invulnerable and doesn't actually need any food or sustenance to survive. After seeing him use his powers, Raquel persuaded Augustus to become a superhero named Icon, with herself as his sidekick, Rocket, thanks to the help of an inertia belt that allows her to manipulate kinetic energy. Throughout the majority of his series, Icon and Rocket do their best to take down these street thugs and criminals that gained powers after the Big Bang, which was a massive riot where quantum-juiced tear gas was thrown and gave superpowers to a vast majority of people. Check out the Icon and his series for yourself, starting with 1993's Icon number 1. Number 3. Zatanna. One of the greatest magic users in the DC universe, Zatanna is the daughter of the legendary magician Zatara, and does all that she can to live up to his legacy and his expectations. She spends her nights working as a simple stage magician, you know, card tricks and all that jazz, and then her late nights working as a consulting sorcerer and a superhero. Typically, to activate her spells, she speaks backwards, like for example, Tagroff would make someone forget something, Lay would heal any wound, you know, etc, etc. But that is all just for showmanship, because she can actually cast her spells by speaking normally or with no words at all, and on occasion she will write them down in her own blood. Aside from minor manipulations, Zatanna is also capable of complete elemental control, teleportation, altering reality, time travel, and a whole lot of other crazy stuff. Throughout the comics, we have seen her team up with the Justice League of America and the Sentinels of Magic to help take down the Secret Society of Villains, Eclipso, and so many more. Check out Zatanna for yourself in her first appearance in 1964's Hawkman number 4, or if you'd rather see her Prime Earth counterpart, check out 2011's Justice League Dark number 1. Number 2. Mon-El. Did you know that Kryptonians aren't the only alien race that that gain incredible superpowers with exposure to a yellow sun. Daxamites from the planet Daxam are actually an evolutionary offshoot from the people of Krypton, and much like their cousins, they gain all the abilities that Superman possesses on Earth. With that in mind, enter Mon-El, a Daxamite hero who was inspired by Superboy. Mon-El traveled to Earth when a young Clark Kent was still living in Smallville. When he was exposed to lead, his one and only weakness, Mon-El had to be placed in the Phantom Zone to save his life. Thousands of years later, he was cured by Brainiac 5 and recruited into the Legion of Superheroes, where he has been considered one of the most powerful members just to date. He might not be quite as strong as his Kryptonian counterparts, but he has shown that he can take anyone from the super family in a fight, as he's wiped the floor with the likes of Supergirl, Superboy, and even the Man of Steel himself. After the establishment of New Krypton, Superman decided to live with his people, and he then trusted Mon-El enough to entrust him with the city of Metropolis and a place in the Justice League. Check out his story for yourself in his first appearance in 1961 Superboy number 89. And number 1, Captain Atom. Sentenced to death for a crime he didn't even commit, Captain Nathaniel Atom was offered a full pardon if he took part in an experiment involving an alien metal and a nuclear bomb. He accepted, and instead of killing him, he survived the explosion and was blasted 18 years into the future and bonded with the metal to become Captain Atom. From that point on, he was basically a living nuclear reactor, meaning he could absorb and redirect energy, see electronic signals, and unleash massive energy blasts that can destroy cities, one of which was strong enough to destroy an entire universe. He can also change some physical properties of certain materials, turning arrows into butterflies, or even, creating his own universe. Now that is just one iteration of Captain Atom. How about we take a look at the second, Alan Atom. Now Alan Atom was the character carried over to DC from the original Charlton Comics series. Essentially a quantum Superman, Captain Alan Atom was born in a nuclear fire. Having his body reassembled with the aid of his atomically supercharged mind, he became a physical god on Earth. He has all the powers and abilities of Watchmen's Dr. Manhattan, and he was one of the few characters to survive Final Crisis, which I think just outright states how strong he is. Check out Nathaniel Atom for yourself in 1987's Captain Atom Volume 2 number 1, and Alan Atom in 1960's Space Adventures Volume 2 number 33. Well, that'll be it for this video, everyone. If you still feel like I missed some of the strongest DC heroes that don't get a ton of limelight, let us know in the comments below, and maybe we'll throw together a part 3 for you all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Top 10 Nerd to stay up to date on all things nerdy, and while you're at it, why not ring that notification bell so you know whenever we upload a video. Now, as always, my name is Jack. Thank you all so much for watching, and make sure to stay nerdy, my friends.